Hey, I'm Sheena Shuey. I'm a registered social worker and host of the 4Q podcast. I'm passionate about normalising, not pathologising life, and that's not easy. So each episode, I have amazing guests on to share the messy, beautiful ups and downs of life in 4 key questions with tips and tricks along the way. There are moments in life where you can embrace your story and understand that it's okay not to feel okay sometimes. So let's get into it. This is the 4Q podcast. Hello, welcome to another episode of the 4Q podcast. This episode, I wanted to talk about my signature method, the 4R method. I've mentioned it in other podcast episodes before, and as those of you who listen weekly or regularly will know that that's the format for a lot of our episodes and when I interview people, which is that 4R formula: reflect, redefine, redesign, and then realign. So I thought today I would go deep into why that is my signature formula and how and understanding how I got there, because it really took me years and years of working with people to figure out what sits right for me as a therapist, figure out what sits right with my clients, and figure out a method that actually works. So the 4R method is reflect, redefine, redesign, and realign. So first of all is reflect. And for those listening along, you can do this as well. You can do this yourself. It's the format for my courses as well. So if you don't have the time or the money for therapy right now or the one-on-one sessions, my course completely covers this, and my membership soon to come out again has an extra R in it. It's got the 5R method, but the starting point is always reflect. So we need to reflect on where you're at, what's going on right now, and how you got here. What past stuff might have led you to this moment. And this is really important because I think sometimes if you go straight into goal setting, rather than reflecting on what brought you to this moment, what brought you here, you're missing a very vital step. So it's almost like if you were working on a physical goal. Let's say you're a sprinter and you go to a personal trainer and you go, I want to increase my sprint speed. They need to know how long you've been sprinting, who you've trained with, what your current time is before they can move forward. If they just said, yep, no worries, let's just go for a run, that's not going to work because they don't know all of your back stuff, right? So reflecting is really important on what's worked and what hasn't up until this moment. What has led to this moment? How are you feeling? If you're a one-on-one client of mine, something that I ask you in the pre-first session intake form is, can you tell me 3 words to describe how you currently feel and 3 words to describe how you would like to feel? And that gives me a really good indication that you've reflected on what you want and also where you're at. So that's the first one, reflect. Second is the redefine. So part of the redefine is a few different things. The redefine, which is the second part, is thinking about different definitions that maybe might be holding you back from your life or somehow are affecting you negatively, like the shoulds and the musts. I should be this, I must be this, that kind of thing. It's also about starting to recognize what kind of conditioning you've had so that we can start to let go of that conditioning in the next step. but we don't know what to let go of until we, again, look at redefining things for you, understanding the conditioning you've had and the definitions you've been given. And what I mean by that, so for something more practical, is let's say you're a mum. What does motherhood look like for you? What conscious and unconscious things do you think you should be doing as a mother? So perhaps you grew up in a household where your mum did everything and was very self-sacrificing and never complained. And when she did complain, maybe she was mocked or made to feel like she was asking for too much, or she was being unrealistic, or maybe she was just cast out as being a bitch, or like, something like that, if we're expressing her own needs. As a child, we don't realize it, but we really do internalize that messaging that, oh, okay, that's just what you do. You just get on with it. You just continue on. You just keep on going, regardless of how you feel. You're meant to do everything as a woman. So work, cook, clean, take care of the kids. And so you can see that if you're not careful about understanding your ideas about motherhood, that can really influence the way that you are. So again, we get sort of sold ideas that women are meant to be working and balancing, motherhood and all of those sorts of things. And so I guess an important part of my work is to keep it real with you. So in that example, we would undo some of the women should be this, mothers should be this, like really sort of tease some of that out, because those rules can really provoke anxiety and have unrealistic expectations that you're never going to live up to. So, of course, if you've got completely unrealistic expectations, you're always going to feel anxious because you're never going to meet them. So, again, that's why we come back to values, because we can always live in alignment with values as opposed to goals where you always feel like you're behind the 8 ball. So that's part of the redefine. And so, again, in that example with motherhood, the way I would keep it real is from an anthropological perspective. So basically a historical perspective on human behavior. What we understand is that up until the last few hundred years, we have always had so much help, both men and women, to have our families, have our lives. We were surrounded by aunties, uncles, cousins, grandparents. So even if women were doing some kind of work through the day, and that work probably would have been domestic work, we had so many people to help with the kids. Like, we weren't expected to do all of the things we do now on our own. And I guess secondary to that is this sort of internalized patriarchy that we all have, where there's no expectation for men to give up certain things when they become fathers, but there's an expectation that women will. And so it's sort of challenging some of that as well. So, so we've covered reflect, redefine. The third part is the redesign. So the redesign is, now we've reflected on where you're at, what's going on, what might have led to this, we've redefine some key terms. What does it mean to be a mother, a wife? What does success look like for you? What does happiness look like for you? What does your ideal day, your ideal lifestyle look for you? The realign is about, the redesign, I'm jumping ahead. The redesign is, how do we get you there? What can we put in place slowly? So again, Rome wasn't built in the day. If you want to live in a beautiful house by the beach, you only want to work 3 days a week or 4 days a week, and you want sort of a different lifestyle than you have, You're not just going to quit your job tomorrow and make that happen, but we can put things in place. We also want to put healthy habits in place so that you stick with one thing consistently, whether that's you stick with journaling consistently, meditation consistently, movement, visualizations, like one key thing that can regulate your nervous system so that you can become the person you want to be, you want to become, that's possible. So we really start to look at what can we implement. What do we need to outsource right now? So there's parts of your life where you're probably taking on so much stuff, and we need to look at, okay, well, what can we outsource? What's not on you? What is somebody else can do for you? So really looking at your whole life and what strategies can we put in there to manage your thoughts, manage your lifestyle, manage your behaviors, all of those sorts of things. So that's the redesign. And then the realign, which I mentioned just briefly earlier, is the final part where you've really got everything implemented now, but you're going to have slip-ups. So, excuse me, you're going to have those moments where it's so easy to slip back into old habits. It's so easy to lose the vision, lose what you're doing this all for, sort of feel like you're making the changes, but it's not feeling great. Because I guess one of these things that people don't talk about so often, and I'm starting to see that on social media, a lot more people are talking about it, which is great, but there is a dark side to personal growth. So when you redefine friendships, redefine healthy boundaries, all of those sorts of things, you'll realize how many people don't have healthy boundaries with you, how many people don't show you respect, how many people don't align with your values and your future vision. If you're someone who values honesty or integrity and your friends are cheating on each other, it's going to be really hard to maintain friendships like that. They might be a ride or die friend, but their values are so different to yours now that it's hard to understand if they're going to be part of your life in the future. And so when those sorts of situations happen, it can be really hard and it can be really confusing to figure out, what am I going to do now? Is this the right decision? Am I still aiming towards this? I really love these people. Do I really want to let them go? So the realign is really when those difficult moments come up, when friendships, you're questioning them, when you're questioning your family dynamics, when you're questioning your workplace, all of those things. So the realign, again, is, in summary, is just what strategies can we have that when negative feelings come up, negative behaviors, negative reactions in your workplace, in your friendships, family, children, whatever, when you change, because as you change, the people around you are going to change the way they treat you. What strategies can we put in place for those difficult times? So again, just to summarize my 4R trademarked method that we use: reflect, redefine, redesign, and realign. Reflecting on what brought you here, who you are as a person, and how are things at the moment. Redefine is understanding the conditioning that you've had, maybe internalized societal things like patriarchy, etc. Understanding what your internalized definitions of motherhood look like, friendship look like, success, money, all of those things, and how they affect you, how you create rules around yourself without even knowing because of these terms. So that's redefining those terms and understanding how they affect you. Then there's the redesign. Okay, now that we understand where you're at and what sort of internalized and unconscious processes might be affecting you, now it's time to redesign things. Let's switch it up. What can we do to change it? How can we implement all the strategies we need to calm your nervous system, work with your body, work with your mind, work to create the life that you want, the person you want to be, all of those things. It's a really important step. And then, and then of course, the realign, which is now that I've done the work, I'm doing all of this, I'm working towards the person in the life that I want to have. How can I stay on track when inevitably life happens? And also when the people around me can't handle the person that I'm now becoming, or I'm seeing things in people that I didn't see before, and now it's changing our relationship. So the realign is really about strategies to keep you on track when the hard stuff comes up. So I hope that you enjoyed that. I hope that you can see how you can implement that for yourself. But of course, it's not easy to implement by yourself. So if you do want to connect, there's so many ways you can connect with Savasana Collective and myself, and several practitioners that I'm working with to outsource some stuff, because I've got some health conditions at the moment that some of you may be aware. So we've got our one-on-one counselling and coaching that you can have. We are relaunching the Wild Ocean Comb membership very, very soon, which has an extra step in it. So there's that. We also have our online course, which is the Life Reset. So if you just don't have the time for therapy because you're just like, where am I going to fit this in my schedule with the kids and with work and with life? Or you just don't have the money at the moment, the Life Reset course is a really awesome course to sort of get you on track and really start that journey. It's all the therapeutic things we do in session, but on your own. So it's self-paced, you got videos, you got activities, so you can do that whenever you want. And that's a really good option too. And then of course, we do want to host some events and retreats. So join our email list if you haven't already. You can do that by checking out our free resource library on our website. And yeah, keep an eye out. We do want to host some events and retreats. Obviously, the world's a little bit crazy at the moment, so we don't know what's happening with that. But if you keep on our email list, we can keep you posted, because we will be having digital events as well for those who can't join us in Queensland. All right, you have a wonderful week, wonderful day, wonderful month, and thank you again for joining me here on the 4Q podcast. Can't wait to talk till next time. Bye for now.